Good day, everyone, and welcome to EU Business Talks once again. Pleased to welcome you here, and I'm again pleased to see these very nice smiles of you. Our today's guest of honor is Mr. Nicholas Takas, Vice President at Thermi Group based in Thessaloniki, Greece. Nicholas, good day to you too, and most welcome.
Hello, good day, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. I have to start, Nicholas, on a personal note. This is out of our scenario, but a couple of years ago, I was in your city. I remember, of course, the White Tower. I visited plenty of more things, and there was one extra fish restaurant in the Promenada over there. So my vibes for your city are very, very positive and with lots of emotions. How is your city doing these days?
First of all, it's very hot, as you can understand. It's very hot. For our country, it was a difficult period because in the midst of the tourist season, we had the problem with the wildfires. I don't know if you have seen that, but fortunately that has been contained, and things are we are optimistic. Things are going better. The tourism industry this year is going quite well considering COVID, as you can understand, and we are optimistic for the fourth quarter of 2021 and of course for 2022.
Okay. I mean, I wish you to stay in this positive mood forward for all of us, obviously. What we know mostly from the Greece, or at least from my point of view, let me put it this way. So great history, of course, but in business terms, tourism, shipping yards, obviously ports, yeah. And what else is Greece in business sense today, manufacturing and service wise?
Well, as you mentioned, tourism is the biggest part, let's say, of our economy. It's the major contributing factor to our GDP. In 2020, as you may understand, it was a very difficult year for our country, but for the tourism industry in particular, due to the COVID effect. This year, the tourism industry is going quite well. What we are hearing from the operators is that we might reach the 2019 levels, which is something that we couldn't imagine in June. There has been a surge of tourists from mid-July until the end of August, so things are going well. Regarding, as you said, tourism is number one. Shipping is a big contributing factor also to our GDP. Not the shipping yards per se, but the shipping industry and the ship owners. A very booming industry right now at the moment in Greece is the renewable energy sector. The energy sector in general, but the renewable energy in particular also, because we have the sun, we have wind, and we are trying to reach the decarbonization quotas from the European Union much faster than 2050. And that's a booming market right now for Greece. Also, real estate, the real estate sector is going very well at the moment. There is a global boom in the real estate sector at the moment.
It is.
But in Greece, we had 10 years of, let's say, zero activity in the real estate sector. Only, let's say, Athens had some real estate transactions, but the market was actually destroyed during the credit crisis that Greece faced, and it's now it's picking up. Also, there were some incentives from the government that were in place that gave a boost to the real estate sector. But we have some landmark projects that are taking place right now in Athens and in the rest of Greece, which are partly connected to the tourism sector, because we have some fast-track projects of big hotels, of real estate developments in tourist areas, and also the Elliniko project that I don't know if you've heard, which is the old Athens airport, which is a big project. And,
yes, we did actually. Yes, we did.
So there is optimism also from the real estate sector side. We're expecting that for the next 5 to 10 years, the sentiment is that it's going to keep up, unless something else happens that we can't foresee, because the past 10 years we've been in Greece.
Of course. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Nicholas. You never know. You know, who would have thought that 2 years ago that we would be talking only about COVID and Delta this year as our core businesses. You cannot predict those things. It's the same with the markets. I'm pleased to hear you are out of the red zones in terms of your national economy, and I wish you to go forward in that path forward. Dear friends, I would want to introduce you Nicholas Takas a little bit more, in particular his business, just so you know. He started a little bit more about solar energy, and let me read it out for you once again shortly, and then we will talk about this, Nicholas. So Nicholas is a vice president of Termi Group based in Thessaloniki, Greece. Company invests in advanced technologies and innovative products of new technology innovative companies in cooperation with Greek and foreign researchers. It manages the first and only venture capital fund in Northern Greece that invests in renewable energy projects and small and medium innovative companies. Nicholas in particular has been actively engaged in investments and in startups and SMEs in ICT, biotechnology, energy. Nicholas is a member of board of several business-related organizations and acts as a managing director of more than 20 companies in the energy ICT construction sector. Can I start from the background, Nicholas? 20 companies under your umbrella. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, I'll start a bit with the history of our group, let's say.
Okay.
It's a family group based in northern Greece in Thessaloniki. It's a group that was founded, let's say, 20 years ago by my father, who transitioned from the timber business to venture capital. So we are an investment group. We invest in several sectors, but our five, let's say, six main sectors are venture capital management. As Anders said, that we manage the second venture capital fund. The first one was we just closed it in 2021, in early 2021. So we now raised the second one, which again is the only existing venture capital fund in northern Greece. The fund invests primarily in the food and beverage industry, which we can discuss later, which is also a very good and booming industry in Greece. And its power and its position has been pivotal during the COVID era, let's say. We are very active in the renewable energy sector. We have a big portfolio of PV, wind parks, biogas, and hydros, less hydros, let's say. We are very active in the real estate sector, here, mostly here in northern Greece, but also in the tourist, let's say, regions of the country, which is the Cyclades Islands. We also have a participation in shipping via a project that we've implemented for the past year. As you said, in the ICT sector and the high technology sectors. And also we are active in the construction material sector. We have a company that does wholesale of construction materials. So that is, let's say, the main focus of our group. As you can understand, we have investments in more than one companies in each sector. So that's how we reach the 20 companies that you read before.
It makes you very unique, Nicholas, you know, to play this business game so wide, I would say. Well, I compliment you for that, but organizational wise, how are you handling this? Do you have some key accounts who are taking care of each of these line of businesses for you, or how are you following these businesses?
You know, of course, we have managers for each sector that manage the managers of each sector, and we have under them people that are running the companies. We don't have such a big structure, let's say. We don't want to burden our company with excess personnel. We try to be small, and we try to manage many things ourselves. So as you can understand, we try to minimize cost. So we believe that always that minimizing cost is what gives you the sustainability for the coming years. So our structure is not that big, but we have, of course, managers for each sector, experts, and we have advisory committees that help us with advice in each sector. And also we have a pool of managers and of partners that can help us let's say, managing a certain company that we invest in, or
Okay, is it just me or we are losing Nicholas?
We use third party. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear backwards. Correct, Primoz? Yeah. At least my picture of Nicholas is freezed. What's going on then? You know how they say, when you have the most beautiful moments, then it freezes. No, we are not hearing you, Nicholas. Primoz, what should we do? Aha, Primoz, my colleague from the background, Nicholas, is suggesting you turn off the camera. Maybe it will go this way better. Okay. Can we hear each other, Nicholas?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we do. Please go on.
Okay. So I don't know until which part you heard. So
I mean, you said if I sum up, you said that you might not be the biggest fish, but definitely you are fast and flexible one in terms of your business, and that you are organized this way to get the best out of it.
Exactly.
My next question, obviously, before I turn the floor to you, dear friends, and to see your questions in the chat box, would be, I find it very positive that you are mentioning R&D, so researchers. How are you getting them? How are you cooperating with them? Is this based solely on your country, on your national area? Are you taking this R&D value added also within the European Union elsewhere? That's number one question. And secondly, you as Termi Group, how are you connected with the global markets? How are you doing business? I mean, just in a couple of sentences, both questions, Nicholas.
Okay, so regarding the researchers, we have actually very good connections with the research centers in Greece and the universities in Greece. So we get a very good feedback from those institutions regarding research. And we can cooperate with them on a large scale, let's say. We are open to European, let's say, researchers. Mostly the business that we've done is with expats, like with Greeks abroad, because our fund's purpose and our investment purpose is to bring the business to locate the business in Greece. So we have to bring any researchers that are doing their research in Greece. So that's our main scope. We have good connections, and we see that researchers seek us in order to do business with us. So
okay. Second question, how are you business-wise cooperating with foreign companies?
Well, with foreign companies, actually, regarding the renewable energy, we have a long-standing cooperation with also with European, but with global companies in the renewable energy sector, both with development of common projects and for purchasing, let's say, equipment. Regarding real estate, as you may understand, because we target tourist regions for our real estate projects, our customers is the global market. We want to bring people here in Greece in order to purchase their, let's say, dream house in an island or in a tourist region of northern Greece.
Okay.
And also we have, as you may understand, ICT. The ICT sector is global. You can't restrain ICT. There is business happening between our investees and companies around the world. They manage projects from, let's say, the US or the UK, or even we also have a program that we are doing with. This is interesting, and I'll close with this to go to the questions. We have a program with another 3 business incubators from the European Union, one from Bulgaria, one from Norway, and one from Belgium. And we have a consortium that manages a project for mentoring companies, startup companies that are active in the media sector, that do fake news, which is very popular at the moment, and that kind of things. And we are an extrovert group. We try to bring knowledge from outside, and we try to give our knowledge wherever we can.
Okay. Thank you very much for this part, Nicholas. Before I see the first brave friend here in the chat box, I do want to ask you, Nicholas, you mentioned also food and beverage business, because here in the room, I see many names of different backgrounds, you know, consulting people, university people, private sector, obviously, manufacturer, traders. I do see some from the food and beverage sector as well. You mentioned it earlier that you're active there as well. How, in which sense? What do you do with food and beverage?
Our fund is actually active in the food and beverage sector.
Ah, okay.
We invest in companies. Our fund is a growth fund, so we invest in companies in order to help them gain a critical mass, let's say, because our economy is a fraction economy. We have a lot of SMEs, and I don't know if you've heard, probably you heard, but the directives from the European Union is to create bigger companies with consolidation or with buyouts. So our purpose is to help these companies grow. We are in discussions, and we are very close to our first investments because the new fund began in April. So we've done our first investment, which is in ICT, and we are now in the discussions with four companies, if I remember correctly, which are in the food and beverage business. We've seen that the food and beverage business in Greece, in particular, is a sector that has very good defensive characteristics. And during the economic crisis of the country, the companies had good returns and did well in that period. So it's a sector that we are interested in. And we've seen that in the past 2 years, due to the problems of the supply chain, due to COVID, due to the increased, let's say, cost of transportation from Asia and from other places, that the local production has played an important role in the supply of the market for food and beverage, and I believe that it's going to play a significant role in the coming years. And we are going to go to smaller localized production than the large-scale production that we had the past year, the last year.
Fully agree with you, Nicholas. It's a global movement, if I may put it this way, you know, buy local, eat local, you know. So yeah, we'll see where we will be in 5 years' time or so. Nicholas, let me start with the questions you and all of us see in the chat box as well. Luca is with us from Rome, Italy, asking, does your group do energy projects only in Greece or beyond as far as investments go? Just to give you any insight on behalf of Luca, Luca is taking care different global World Bank projects, European projects, and this is why his scope of question is like that. Please, Nicholas.
So our main focus is in Greece. So all the renewable energy projects that we're doing is in Greece. However, we are open to any suggestions for projects that are outside Greece. We don't know, I don't know the specific laws and tariffs and incentives that are given in other countries. But if we have the right partner, we could invest in, of course, in projects outside Greece also.
Okay, I sense Luca is wanting to give a sub-question to this or not? No? Okay, fair enough. So, Nicholas, if Luca is running, I don't know, any sort of funding, collecting different stakeholders into the project, you wouldn't say no at the beginning, you would listen, and if interested, you would jump into the boat, correct?
Yes, but the problem is that we are hands-on investors. Okay. So we like to take part in the management of the companies that we invest in projects that we invest in the development of the projects, and we'll have to discuss in detail anything that we won't do a passive investment.
Of course. Of course. Thank you. Ines is with us from Ljubljana, I have to say once again. Your experience in biotechnology in Greece and abroad, Nicholas?
Well, we had an investment, a startup, two startups in biotechnology, which I was involved, but I actually didn't manage these projects, and we did the investment. The investment didn't go very well, so my experience in the biotechnology sector is not that good, and I'm not that fond of it. However, my personal experience is quite limited. Our groups it's much more. Let's say we have a partner here that is more active in that, and we moved from the biotechnology to the, let's say, telemedicine, if you can say, if I'm saying it correctly in English, which was easier for us to go.
Okay, fair enough. Martin is with us from France. Would you consider to develop a renewable energy project in Africa? What is your CV related with Africa? You have any history over there?
We haven't done business in Africa. We've evaluated the project, which was, I don't remember which African country it was, but it had, we had some reservations about the grid connection in Africa, because it wasn't, we couldn't understand where we would be connected, where the project would be connected, because if I remember correctly, it's been 2 or 3 years since we evaluated the project, that they have local grids and they don't have national grids in Africa. I don't remember correctly. Mr. Martin may know probably more about it than me, but if the financials are okay, if the technical, let's say, if the technical aspects of the projects are okay, we are open to discussions, of course.
Okay, there you go, Martin, and you'll do your own follow-up with Nicholas afterwards. Obviously, Nicholas, before the next question emerges in the chat box, we are talking about, first and most of all, about European Union, but of course there are friends from elsewhere here in the room with us as well. What's your, do you have any history with other continents? Of course, I see here we have Latin America, Asia present with us as well. Can you comment on this?
Well, as I told you,
Greece is number one, of course. I understood that Europe is behind it, but elsewhere?
Elsewhere, I told you that we have cooperations with companies in the US and Canada,
Okay.
with the construction material business. We have business with, as you can understand, Chinese company for the equipment for the renewable energy projects. We have a long-standing business with Huawei, let's say, with Chinese companies for panels, with European companies for wind turbines. Our ICT investments also have business with the US mostly, and I think that
that covers it.
Yes, and one of our companies also has a business, does business with Portugal, I think, something like that. But no, Latin America, we don't have so much business. India is a region that we would like to have some business with due to its manufacturing power, and but still we don't have some significant business there.
Okay, so. I see some smiles on our friends from India faces. I have to tell you though, it's 29 minutes past the hour. So I would rather close up the session here. I would, of course, be doing all the follow-up that you are used to. Connect you with Nicholas afterwards. Okay, let me Nicholas put this question online here as the last one from Paul Lee from Taiwan, if I'm not mistaken. I wonder if Greece needs any carbon capture tech or application. Can you answer on that, Nicholas, shortly?
Of course, as any country, Greece also has heavy industry. So I believe that there are needs for carbon capture technology. And I am not aware of it, but I'm sure there is a need.
Okay.
And, we could see if there is a need for that.
Well, Paul, you will get that same follow-up email, and then you talk to Nicholas further, I would suggest. It's 30 minutes past the hour, dear friends. I would give the last 20 seconds to Nicholas to sum up his ideas at the end of today's chat. Nicholas.
Well, again, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to discuss, and thank you all for staying here with us for the past 30 minutes. It's in these difficult times, I am optimistic about the future, especially in Greece, with the sectors that I already mentioned from the beginning. I believe that the RRF is going to help a lot with future investments in Greece, and there are many opportunities in the renewable energy sector and during the decarbonization, let's say, process, and also the real estate sector, because as you can understand, decarbonization is not only the renewable energy sector, it's also applications in the real estate developments, also electromobility. There are many, I believe, opportunities right now in the European Union, actually, but also in Greece, and I am very optimistic for the coming years.
Thank you very much, Nicholas, for your input. Thank you very much, dear friends. Next week, we will be talking with Andreas Dressler from Berlin, Germany. Until that time, stay well. All the best. Bye-bye.